Welcome to another great edition of Scaling with Insights, where we bring in top industry leaders to share their insights of what's working well to scale their businesses. My name is John Russo. I'm a former CMO turned entrepreneur. Now I'm helping other businesses scale, grow, and measure their business for effectiveness. Welcome, everyone, back to episode 53. We've got a great episode today. The author of No Forms, Spam, and Cold Calls. You may know her as Latané Conant. She's a CMO of 6 Sense, and I am really excited to bring her aboard here in just a moment. I just want to remind you today's sponsor and thank our sponsor, the Growth Ops Community, a professional network that is focused on aligning marketing, sales, and customer success to deliver excellent customer experiences in order to drive business growth. It's a community where growth ops professionals can connect with one another, align on best practices, and foster personal growth. And with that, I will bring on Latané onto the show. Hello, Latané.
Hi. Great to see you, John.
Great to see you again, too. You host this fantastic SIP Club of the month every Friday, the CMO meeting. It's fantastic value. Maybe you could share a little bit about yourself, do a quick background or intro of yourself.
Sure. So hi, everyone. I'm Latané Conant, the Chief Market Officer at 6 Sense. And I've been there about 2 years. Eat, sleep, breathe, everything. ABX, I guess is what we're calling it now. And before that, I was a sales leader and I was in consulting and I even graduated in accounting. So kind of an accidental marketer, so to speak, but having a lot of fun and just released a new book, which is the kind of an interesting twist for a gal who purposely was an accounting major because I never wanted to write a paper. So but I pulled it off somehow.
Well, this had to be a heck of an effort. I've gone through it. I've read through it. This had to be one heck of an effort on your part to pull together. Maybe tell us a little bit about the inspiration, like what caused you to produce something that was about kind of the B2B buying process?
Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment. No, so it's actually kind of interesting. The premise was like less about writing a book. It actually started as an experiment. So and a challenge. So I came from customer experience. So originally, when I was at Aperio was dedicated to customer experience and using technology to improve customer experience. So when I got to 6 Sense, I hadn't been in the MarTech landscape. I couldn't name 5 things on Scott Brinker's list if my life depended on it. And I felt like maybe I was crazy. But then I'm like, maybe they're crazy. Maybe we're all crazy. I don't know. But I literally had this aha, like, hey, if we actually put prospects who are future customers at the center of the experience, and I kind of borrowed some of my customer experience practices, what would that mean? What would that look like? And so I challenged my team. It was back when we could have, real team meetings. And so everybody, we had a really fun night the night before, and everyone came in to this big powwow. And I announced we're gonna build a process that puts the customer and future customers at the beginning, at the center, and we're gonna use no forms, no spam, no cold calls. And they were all very hungover and just looked at me like I had 5 heads. But really, it was meant to sort of shock us into a new way of thinking, a new approach, and quite frankly, leveraging our own technology as well as an ecosystem of what we believe are leading technologies to make it happen. And then not just to make it happen, but to also prove that we could have amazing performance with this approach. And so we started doing it. We started working tirelessly, and we started seeing wins. And I started going around talking about it, and people would get so excited, and then they say, "Well, how'd you do it?" And so I'd write note. I would write these long notes and emails and attach templates. And then someone else would ask, and I'm not very organized. You can ask my team. And so I'd be like, where was that template? And I have to rewrite this email. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Let's just write it all down. If only to save ourselves a lot of time. So that's when we embarked on getting it all in one place, to hopefully be a guide for people. They might not use all of it, but I always think if I get out of a book or a webinar, if I get one or two like gold nuggets that help me do my job better, like I'm all in.
Sure. And I think that's a great segue. And this is, fantastic effort that you put forth here. Guide is the key word. When I went through it, I definitely felt like it was helpful in terms of an ABM or ABX strategy. Maybe if you could just double click into that a little bit and share, before we were talking about some of the challenges that sometimes sales and marketing have in our common experiences. We talked about sometimes sales doesn't always share accounts, or perhaps they're not jointly selected, or marketing's not doing the selecting and informing sales. What are some of the common pitfalls that you're seeing in an ABX strategy right now that this guide somewhat addresses?
You learn more from your failures than your successes. So everyone knows I'm PG-13 and I'm not afraid to tell people the real deal. So I think the first pitfall that I see a lot, and I can be guilty of as well, is focusing too much on the accounts you're going to go after and not focusing enough on the accounts you're not going to go after. So I think ABX is as much about who you do target as who you don't, and having a very good understanding of I call it a DQ process. What is that DQ process, so that we don't give them a bad brand experience? We still have a process for them, but we're not going to waste a lot of our sales resources on that. And I actually work with a company and as an advisor, and we just did this. We implemented this, and in 2 months they doubled their ASPs. Just from that alone and a lot of times traditional inbound doesn't exactly do that as well as maybe it could and should. So that's one. I would say two is, and I definitely fell into this trap, which is around account selection. So the first step that most frameworks will tell you about account selection is they'll say, go and collaborate with sales. Collaborate with sales on account selection. And I love sales. I love collaborating them on lots of things. I do not think collaborating them on account selection is a good idea at all, because their opinion on the best accounts either comes from the most recent win wire. We just won this deal, so every deal must be like that. It's not pattern based. It's based on literally the last deal, the last QBR. Or it's based on all the accounts that they wish they could sell to, but they can't get into. So if you go and collaborate with sales, which is exactly what I did my first ABM rodeo, I went around and I said, what do you think, RVP? And he said, oh, well, we just sold to Target, so we should put Walmart on the list. And then they said, well, make sure you talk to the industry guys. Well, okay, well, let's put a bunch of colleges on there. We're going to start a vertical in higher ed. Don't forget about Takashi in Japan. So then I've got Fujitsu on there. And I mean, all of a sudden I'm looking at 50 accounts and there is nothing bespoke about these accounts at all. And the top AE, you got to make sure you give Jeff accounts because he's our top guy. And so he needs his own personal accounts. It's like, oh my gosh. So you end up with this list of, what do you do with that? And so that's, you got to really look at, again, data, patterns. I call it putting yourself in the highest propensity to win. And that's going to be based on insights and data, not sound bites and anecdotes. So that's one. Second is, thinking that because you do have a targeted list, it means you need to go cuckoo bananas on every single account. So we did this. We said, okay, well, ABM is all about being, really personalized. And And so we researched these accounts till the cows came home. We read their SEC filings. We sleuthed their CEOs. I mean, everything, right? We put together this custom report for them, custom landing page, custom ads, everything. Again, no idea if they were in market or not in market. Tons and tons of work, not great signal on what's really relevant to our buying committee, to the actual people doing research. And after we got through 2 accounts, I mean, and it was beautiful work. It could have won awards. It was such good work. After we got through 2 accounts, I'm like, this is too much work and we have not done anything. We haven't gotten one, no pipeline. So we ended up shutting it down. And so the reason I say that is to be relevant, you don't necessarily have to send the CEO champagne every week. And it's more about understanding the audience in real time and understanding the dynamics of that particular segment, what makes them bespoke. And it doesn't have to always be one-to-one. In fact, for you, one-to-many might be the best, most scalable way. And it's just starting with ads and BDR cadences and maybe a very high value CTA. So I think it's just making sure you have the right mix of execution channels to support really that audience and the right investment level so that you can see return quickly.
Makes a lot of sense. And maybe just a last question on the book here. You've got a lot of different ingredients in the cake here that you talk about in terms of success factors, change management, SDRs, measurement. Hard to wrap it up in any one suggestion beyond the suggestions that you've already offered. Is there any other one piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's embarking on an ABX journey to maybe minimize the risk of the failures you talked about?
Yeah, so for the book launch, we actually had Michael Franti do a live concert. And I actually didn't know his music that well until he played this concert for us. It was amazing. And he talked about how hard it is for marketers and sellers. And then he played this song, Think Big, Start Small. And that is my new theme song. And that's what the book is supposed to be. It's Think Big. That's why the title is No Forms, No Spam, No Cold Calls. It's a little jarring, a little scary for us marketers. So think big, dream big, but you know what? Just start going, start small, little wins along the way. So that's what I would leave people with.
That's awesome advice. And maybe just in closing here, I noticed as we were talking, we were briefly talking, you do some wakeboarding in Chicago. Totally unrelated to ABX, but as we wrap up here, like I can't compute the two. Like, how do you do that in Chicago?
So it's wake surfing.
Oh, wake surfing. All right, there we go.
Thing. Okay, so we have a lot of lakes in Chicago.
Right.
And my son Watson spent all winter researching boats, special boats that actually there's patented technology where they take in enough water and there's a way that they make the wake of the boat throw a surfable wave. Yes. Interesting. And so he was on, I mean, he was calling my CEO asking if I could get a raise so we could buy this boat. And so we saved up and found some, change under the couch. Ended up getting this wake surf boat, and it's crazy. Yeah, it literally throws a surfable wave. And so what you do is you have a surfboard, and you're at the back of the boat, and initially you hold onto a rope, and it kind of pulls you up a little bit, and you pop up on the board, and then you actually end up letting go of the weight of the rope, and just you're back there surfing. It's a scream. It's a hoot. So that is what we have been doing all summer, me and my boys, which has been really fun.
That's fantastic. It must get a little chilly in January, February timeframe, though, in Chicago to do that.
Oh, yeah. And I'm a total fair weather boater. They want to go this weekend, and I'm like, it's going to be 73. That sounds cold.
I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you.
My season's done.
Excellent. Latane, if anybody wants to get the book, I think it's on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. Anywhere else that they can reach out to get in touch with you or to get the book?
LinkedIn me. I'm happy to get you a copy. You can also go to Sixth Sense, the book. We've got a whole site on it. And we are about to actually come out with a workbook to support it. So we had a lot of people say, I want to figure out a way to like make this happen at my company. And so we're putting together this book club in a box where we'll get you and your compadres at the company copies of the book and the workbook, and I don't know, maybe some wine, and help you think big and start small.
Excellent. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap things up here. Latane, I really appreciate you investing the time, and good luck this weekend if you do decide to go wake surfing.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Latane.
Bye, John.